Raw Takes and Company. We're back. First show of 2026. Andrew Hody, Jake Molensic, Matthias Sandahar in the house. How are we doing, gentlemen?
I'm in an apartment, not a house.
I'm also in an apartment, not a house. Matthias?
I'm in a duplex, not a house.
Well, technically, I'm in a duplex too, but hey,
Okay,
how you
so
guys all doing?
2026 off to a great start. None of us are in a house.
So it's Andrew Hody, Jake Molensic, and Matthias Sandahar in the apartments and duplexes. Hope everyone had a great holiday season. It's great to be back here on Raw Takes and Company. If you like the show, as always, like, comment, subscribe. We want to hear from you and your Raw Takes. Also, make sure to check us out on social media. You can see our social media accounts right here on the screen as we discuss that. Also, links in the description below for Raw Takes and Co. on Facebook and Instagram. We do have pages there. You can check out some of our reels as well on our YouTube page or on Instagram and Facebook as well. All right, gentlemen, first things first, before we get into everything here, how was your new year?
Pretty boring. I had to work New
Mine
Year's
wasn't
Eve and New
boring.
Year's Day. Pretty
uh
boring.
It was kind of like boring in terms of like what I did, I guess, like because I spent time with family and whatnot. But I had fun with my mom on New Year's Eve, and
The football was good.
snowing. Yeah, there was football on. I'm outside of Ohio State. I had a good New Year's Eve. The snow came down though, so I didn't get to go out and do as much stuff as I would like to do. But I'm glad I spent the holiday with family, and my mom and I had a good New Year's Eve. It was good. It was good. Spent some good time with family, especially all over the holidays as well. So, Matthias, how about you?
Yeah, I had my mom hosted a little house party at the house. So
At the duplex.
At the
yeah, the
duplex?
duplex. So yeah, that was interesting seeing people that are both, I mean, that were both younger and older than me playing Mario Kart Wii at the same time.
I love
Um,
that. I also
Hey,
played
Mario
Mario
Kart
on
Wii's a
my house
classic.
New Year's Eve.
So
yeah,
I
it
will
was
say
really good.
this. Mario Kart Wii is fun. Mario Kart Double Dash on the GameCube, stellar video game. Probably my favorite Mario Kart.
I never had a GameCube. I was a Wii kid.
Well,
I
Wii is
was also
essentially a
a
GameCube
Do you
too,
still
but
have a Wii, Matthias?
Oh yeah, it's in my living room.
I
Nice.
still
That's
have a
so.
Wii, GameCube, and N64 somewhere
I don't know where
installed.
my Wii went.
But
I
yeah,
remember,
also
Awesome.
remember
for
the
my
2007 jokes I was making a few weeks ago? That's when the
Yeah,
Wii was in its prime, and the Wii is going to be 20 years old in 2026. That's kind
that
oh,
sucks.
of all right.
can we
Well,
You did not need to tell me that. Because
we're getting old.
I remember the Christmas that I got, me and my brother got the Wii.
Oh, really?
And it was like the greatest. Because the couple years later, we got an Xbox 360. And it was like, oh, we're living the dream. And now both of those consoles are going to be like 20 years old. So that's
yeah.
cool.
I was never really a big Xbox 360 guy. I was a Wii guy always. But I will say this. Remember the commercials we would like to play? And then
Just
Wii
great.
Sports, all those games were on display. Such good memories. And I love the Nintendo Switch too, but I'll be honest with you. I am a
Nothing beats
big
the
fan
Wii.
of the Wii. I'm a big Wii guy, and I always will
Yeah,
be.
I think
Probably
I
my
think Wii
favorite
was
of my
peak.
lifetime. Wii was peak.
Matthias had the advertisement for the Wii of people older than him and younger than him all playing Mario Kart Wii.
Yeah, I also got Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock for
Oh,
Christmas.
Guitar Hero is a
So
classic. And Rock Band, underrated. Rock Band is an underrated game. Guitar
yeah,
Hero was a lot better,
Fantastic.
but Rock Band was good too. The Beatles Rock Band, especially. All right.
Sports podcast or video game podcast.
Well, we're talking about some old school video games, but yes, we do got to get into some sports here. We got to congratulate somebody, gentlemen. Want to congratulate Jake Molensic in particular, the king, the winner of one sentence, one pick
This
for
crown
the
does not look good on
2025
me.
season.
There we go.
We started the podcast during week 7 of the NFL season. We had a lot of up and down weeks. Jake actually never lost a single week. He had the lead the entire time almost until this week. He actually only got 6 picks right. I almost came back, but I
I was
picked the
trying.
Jets and I picked the Dolphins, and I was wrong, and I probably shouldn't have picked those two teams, but that is what gave
The
Jake the
Jets was
victory.
crazy.
I know. I don't know why I picked the Jets, but I'll take it. You know what? Jake had the lead the whole time anyway, and he did a great job. He picked some stellar games all season long, and he deserves his props. He is the one sentence, one pick champion,
The king.
and Matthias will be paying for dinner for us.
I sure
Well,
will.
thank you, Matthias and Jake. You get to pick where we go, and I'm just enjoying everything.
I told Matthias
enjoy it.
before the show what the loophole was because we
Mhm.
had set such good standards and he wasn't excited. So I don't think I'm going to go with what my loophole choice was of it has to be a chain restaurant and all this other stuff because Cheesecake Factory was quite enticing as the loophole. Um, if it was Andrew, I might have chosen Cheesecake Factory, but I won't do that to Matthias.
Much appreciated.
I really wouldn't do it to Andrew either, but I know how we're all balling on a budget, so maybe we're gonna probably hit the Bob Evans or something, make it easy.
Cracker
Hey,
Barrel,
we'll still have
baby.
fun. We'll still have
Hey,
fun
there's
either way.
nothing wrong with a Bob Evans.
And we're gonna have some updates for the podcast when we go through everything with dinner. So
Won't be a picture of
stay
me from
posted.
2021.
We'll have some more exciting updates and whatnot as well, because all three of us haven't actually been in person in a long time, and we're all great college friends. So that's going to be exciting when we get to go out to dinner and just talk about life and as well as the podcast and how we're going to grow this thing. And we want to thank all of our listeners and viewers as well for supporting us over the last 4 months since we started this thing back in was it late September or was it the beginning of October? It was around then. It might have been October when we
I
started.
don't remember.
We're 13 episodes in though, so thank you for all your dedicated support. I believe we started in October now that I think about it, but we got to get to the headlines. A lot to get to today, obviously. Not as much with Week 18 with the slate of games because we now know who's in the playoffs, and we are going to pick playoff games for one sentence, one pick. They're just not going to count toward dinner or anything like that. We're just doing it for fun now. But we have to start right away with some of the games that took place over this weekend and primarily the meaningful games. We're going to start things off with Carolina and Tampa Bay. Carolina just needed to win this game to essentially win the NFC South. They got some help from the Atlanta Falcons, though, but Tampa Bay did come out swinging and really trying to make a case to win the division. Didn't happen thanks to the Atlanta Falcons, but I'll leave the floor open. This game was pretty good for the most part, but either way, both Carolina and Tampa Bay aren't very good football teams, and I wasn't really excited to see either one of them in the playoffs. I'll leave the floor open on Carolina making the playoffs via Atlanta and this game in general, and what your guys' thoughts are on Carolina getting the South Championship.
My thoughts are pretty simple. I mean, I thought the game was fine,
Mhm.
but I don't. Um, it sucks that it didn't matter because the winner didn't actually get to go. And I think that really kind of waters down the excitement of what that game was. I don't think Carolina played very well. I don't think Tampa Bay played very well. I just don't know that it was a good game. Like it was close late and there was some good moments, but I just don't know that it was like the most exciting football game for a division that also wasn't for the division because Atlanta came out and just won anyway. So I thought a little bit watered down after the Sunday stuff that had happened, but still fun nonetheless. I have no idea what to feel about Bryce Young. That's where I've landed. I don't know if he's good or bad yet, but congrats to them.
I think Bryce Young has been okay this year. I'll say that. I don't know if he's been great, but he's had his moments. Matthias, you have the floor.
Yeah, so first for overall, yeah, I don't think anybody on that field played great, including the refs. There was just some blatant, really bad calls.
They were really bad.
Yeah, but
I
other
don't want
than
to talk
that,
about that part, but yeah,
And they did go
other
all
than
against Carolina. It was almost like they wanted Tampa Bay to win the division.
I
yeah,
sure
they
did.
wanted the ratings for that Saints Falcons game. But that aside,
Maybe.
1000% that's what they wanted.
I think for Bryce Young, and it's going to matter in this next game because all of these games are now win or go home. Bryce Young, I wouldn't say he's great, but I will say he's good, and then he's clutch.
Jake, go ahead. You have something?
Breaking news.
Yeah, go on.
Sham Sharani of ESPN. The Atlanta Hawks are trading Trae Young to the Washington Wizards for CJ McCollum and Sports Pulse legend Corey Kispert.
Oh,
Yo,
why the Wizards?
That's what I was saying pre-show. Why does this man want to go to the Wizards?
why did they only get CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert back?
Well, okay,
Yeah.
that's
I saw
interesting
somebody
trade.
said the other day that Trae Young was, I think it was Kenny, King of the fourth quarter. Trae Young's going to get traded, and it's not going to be for as much as we think it is. And whoever, I don't know, I really wish I saw who said that because they hit the nail on the head.
Wow. Well, that's a big trade. Um, I think we'll
Sorry to
see
interrupt
with
the
the
NFL, but that felt
no,
like
you're
pretty
fine.
big.
No, that is a big story. I'm glad you brought it up right away when it happened. Now, obviously, our viewers watching the podcast, we recorded this the day before the airing on Thursday, January 8th. We're recording this on the evening of January 7th. That news just broke at about 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as we're recording this podcast. So, Trae Young is going to the Washington Wizards in exchange for C.J. McCollum, and what was the other compensation there?
Corey Kispert, Sports
Okay,
Pulse legend.
Sports Pulse legend.
Matthias knows what I'm talking about, I
Yeah.
think.
Yes,
I think
sir.
we'll
We
talk a
loved
little
him
bit
on
more
Sports
about that
Pulse
trade once we
whatever
get to
year
the
he was.
NBA later in the
Yeah,
pod.
whatever
But
year he was
yeah,
drafted.
we will head now to keep going with the NBA, the NFL here. Pardon me, but that's good to know for when we get to the NBA in a little bit. All right. Uh, but yeah, Carolina, Tampa Bay, the ratings for the Falcons Saints game certainly probably were helped by that game. Carolina wins the division. We'll talk about that game against the Rams in a little bit. Seattle and San Francisco. Sam Darnold, 198 yards, 20 for 26 overall. A good game for him. Brock Purdy, kind of a mess, but I mean, not horrible, but still the 49ers offense did not look very good. Brock Purdy did not play particularly great, but I don't think it's like the end of the world how he played based on his numbers here. 19 for 27, 127 yards and one interception. Oh, ooh, yeah, that's okay. I thought it was
It was not good. It
227
was a
yards. I'm
disaster
sorry.
the
I
whole way
read it as it
through
was
for the whole Niners
227
offense.
yards. I thought it was 227 yards. Pardon me. Christian McCaffrey only 8 carries, 23 yards. Seattle proved that they were the best team in the NFC West. I have certainly bought into some Seattle stock. However, I still think Sam Darnold needs to get a playoff victory before I can rave about the Seahawks like I want to. And the floor is open. Let's start with Matthias. I know you're a big Seattle Seahawks fan.
Yeah, my biggest thing about this game wasn't the offense for Seattle, but it was the Legion of Boom 2.0. That secondary, that defense has been putting in work in games where they need to. Against the Rams, even the first game where they lost against the Rams, their defense kept them in the game. Against the Rams the second time around, they were the ones that not only kept them in the game, but their special teams even were able to score when Sam Darnold was off. And now in a game where a lot of people have been sleeping on the 49ers, and I might be guilty. I won't say might because I never looked at San Fran and said that they were bad. They were just always injured. But yeah, in another team that could contend and could have easily taken that first spot, they said their defense stepped up and not gave them the win, but helped set up the offense for the win once again. So I'm really looking at that Seattle defense. And it's looking like something that complements the offense more than what it would for, let's say, the Broncos.
Jake, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I just think Matthias kind of hit all the big points there. Their defense is just really, really good. You kind of read off those stats for Brock Purdy. Like, they shut him down. No Trent
Yeah, part
Williams,
of
no
me.
Ricky.
I thought he said it had 227 yards.
No, and
The stats. I watched the game. I know he definitely didn't have that.
yeah, no, and it's a good point to bring up of that defense is really good. Niners didn't have Trent Williams or Ricky Pierce also. We'll see if they get him back for the Eagles, but injuries have been their thing the whole year, and those are two big ones going into the playoffs. But yeah, the storyline is Seattle's really flipping good. And that's they might be the best team in the NFC. We talked about it being the Rams. It might be Seattle now.
They're giving me hope, and I'm so scared.
Well,
Right?
Seattle, I think, needs to win a playoff game to really, really solidify their season at the bare minimum. I'm not expecting them to necessarily win the Super Bowl here, although they very well might. They're very good. But I think if Seattle needs to validate this season the way I think they need to, especially Sam Darnold, he's got to win in the playoffs. That's just my view on it. As we move on to what I personally think was the game of the weekend, certainly the best game of the Week 18 slate, outside of, Carolina, Tampa Bay, and Seattle, San Francisco. Neither one of those games were really that good, to be honest with you. New Orleans, Carolina, not New Orleans, Carolina, New Orleans, Atlanta was certainly a lot better, even than both
It was
those.
fun. I
It was
enjoyed that
fun.
New Orleans
Yeah,
Atlanta game.
absolutely. But
Tyler Shuck is awesome.
yeah, Tyler Shuck is awesome, and he did put up a fight against the Falcons, but the Falcons proved to be the better team in that one. So But let's move on to this one between Pittsburgh and Baltimore, the last game of the 2025 season. It cost John Harbaugh his job. We know that, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Came down to kickers. It literally came down to kickers. It came down to Chris Boswell and Tyler Loop. And even though Chris Boswell couldn't get that extra point, Tyler Loop with a huge blunder that cost the Ravens their season. Now, I will say this. I think Ravens fans being as vocal as they have been, it hasn't been great. I mean, Tyler Loop is still just a young kicker. You got to give him some time. It was a big moment. I get it. You got to get that kick. But John Harbaugh, I mean, I'm not saying that kick necessarily all the way cost him his job. I think there's a variety of factors of that we'll get into in a little bit. But the Steelers proved that they were the better team in the AFC North, and certainly were better than the Baltimore Ravens twice this year. And they're winning the division and hosting the Houston Texans next week for a reason. So I'm going to leave the floor open. We'll go to our resident Steeler fan, Matthias Andahar, first. But what do you make of this crazy game? And I didn't even throw out Aaron Rodgers and what a game he had, even though Lamar Jackson also had a great game too.
Yeah, so this game was just, I'll put it like this. The first three quarters actually was not a good game. The first three quarters was what you expect out of Steelers versus Ravens. The fourth quarter, on the other hand, was what you expect out of seeing a good Aaron Rodgers versus a healthy Lamar Jackson. And like, it was just like that last quarter, it was great football. I hate, not that I hate to admit it, but like, it was good football. It was entertaining, which was not something you could say about either of those teams throughout the season. I do think getting TJ Watt back was more of an impact than I thought. I thought the injury would have still hampered him coming into this game, and he would not have been as effective. But that defense, they came to play when they needed to, and even though they gave the opportunity for the game-winning kick, sometimes Steelers black magic works overtime. This time it was a priest putting holy water over the end zone that Tyler Loop then missed the kick. So I don't know, man. Maybe God is a Steelers fan. That's why he loves me. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
You have anything to wrap this one up, Jake?
Yeah, the voodoo magic has to stop. This is every single season. You guys do this. How does it never go the other way?
And it's always last game of the season against the Ravens.
So annoying. This is why they can never fire Mike Tomlin, because he might be the leader of the voodoo magic. He has it around. It just around him in the air, and it just works. And every single time your kicker misses an extra point, oh well, the other kicker's gonna miss the field goal. I'm over it. I'm so tired of it. You've never seen somebody about to root for the Texans as hard as me on Monday.
I'll be honest with you. I'm struggling with who to pick in that game still, but I will get into my analysis on it during one sentence, one pick. So before we move on to the coaching firings, I want to talk a little bit about Cam Little with his 67-yard field goal against the Tennessee Titans. Is he the next great kicker in the NFL? Also, Myles Garrett getting the sack record. 23 sacks in a full season. Is there an asterisk next to it because
No, there's not. If you put an asterisk next to it, you're a dumb idiot.
I'm not putting an asterisk next to it.
I'm not saying you were. I'm just saying in general. TJ Watt did it first. No, he didn't. He didn't have as many sacks. He only had 22 and a half. Myles had 23. TJ Watt didn't do anything first. The only thing TJ Watt did first was tie the sack record.
I will say that TJ Watt
isn't the record anymore because Myles has it. And I stubbed my toe in excitement, jumping over my coffee table.
I think TJ Watt has proven he's great at sacks, but Myles can do so much more than just sacks. That's the thing I think we also talk about. And that's why I think Myles Garrett as a defensive player overall is better than TJ Watt. Doesn't mean TJ Watt's not great. He certainly is.
But he drops into coverage sometimes, Andrew. It's really important.
True. That's also true. He is a linebacker. They're two different positions, even though he's also a pass rusher.
You're so right, because he doesn't play linebacker.
And Cam Little with the outdoor field goal record, that guy's got ice in his veins. He's a great kicker, and I have a lot of faith in him going forward for Jacksonville. And what a guy! What a kick that was! That was fun
That
to
was a
watch.
dirty. That thing was good from 70, I think.
That was so
Yeah.
fun to watch. Matthias, do you have anything to say on the madness of Myles Garrett and Cam Little?
So first things first, Cam Little, he also did something in preseason that was similar where he just like kicked it. I think it was like from 70 or something in preseason. Everyone's like, what the heck is this kid? So I'm glad he actually was able to do it in a game that count. Like, not that the preseason doesn't count, but it kind of doesn't count.
It doesn't.
So I'm glad he actually has the record. Second of all, not too much on TJ Watt. Third of all, for when it comes to the sack record, some people are like, oh, well, Strahan did it in one less game. And it's like, well, Myles did it in like, I think it was like 100 less snaps. And even with TJ, it was like significantly less snaps. So I will give it that Myles does deserve the record. I'm not saying that like it was Mickey or anything, but like, yeah, that's kind of it. Like, congrats on Myles. This should have been done against the Steelers, and then the Steelers would have won. But here we are.
You're right.
You're probably right. Yeah.
What's
The
crazy?
Steelers don't have to play all their starters against the Ravens.
All they had to do in that game, the Steelers, was let Myles get the sack on play number 1. Just right tackle, fall over, get the sack, and then go about your business. He probably wasn't going to play the rest of the game.
Aaron Rodgers' pride was on the line. Aaron Rodgers did not want
to
see
that's what I'm
the
saying.
guy
They could
who
have
got
seen
sacked.
the entire second unit. And just like, how poetic would it be of Myles Garrett breaking the sack record on Mason Rudolph and then just be like, all right, we got
the
it
best
done.
NFL script ever written by man.
Oh gosh.
That's
But
my
I
head
just
canon of what should have happened.
The Steelers are lucky they made the playoffs because that game plan almost costing them their playoffs would have been for him to just get the record the next week anyways and it not matter. But it wasn't against us.
Well, the Steel City miracle from Tyler Loop, I think, certainly makes up for that. So,
yes.
All right. Well, that's a lot about what happened in Week 18 here. Now we have to get to Black Monday and Sunday and Tuesday because there was firings all over the place. Starting off with Atlanta, a firing that I don't think made any sense whatsoever, seeing how they ended the season. But Raheem Morris out in Atlanta, and Terry Fontenot, is that how you say
Fontenot.
it? Fontenot, that's it. Okay, yep. Out in Atlanta. That becomes a pretty sought-after job. Arthur Blank is known for being patient with coaches, which is why I'm kind of shocked he made this move as quickly as he did. The Falcons finished off the year a lot better than they started the year off as, but I get it from the standpoint that the Falcons were awful most of this year, and when nothing mattered, they were the best team in football. But still,
there is something to say about that, though, and that's kind of where I would have gone. Your season was over, but the coach still got buy-in from all the players. They finished tied for first in the division.
They possibly could have won the division if Carolina or Tampa Bay would have lost another game, in all honesty.
Them being the best team in meaningless games it's a negative, but it's also kind of a positive on the coaching staff of, yeah, we're playing for nothing, but our coaches got us fired up to play, no matter what the circumstances are. There was no team more fired up to play than the Atlanta Falcons from weeks 15 to 18 because they were playing for that coach. I was a little surprised he got fired too. I was a little surprised.
I don't like this firing, but seeing the names that are out there now, and I think Atlanta is one of the better jobs from the standpoint. Arthur Blank is historically patient. I mean, this doesn't show it, but he was pretty patient with Arthur Smith, and he was definitely
very patient with. Who was the guy before too?
Dan Quinn.
Huh?
Dan Quinn.
My gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, with Dan Quinn.
Yeah. So
coach when I
don't like this firing,
too. Hold on.
But I do think this is going to be a sought-after job overall. We already know Kevin Stefanski is going to interview there. John Harbaugh may be in consideration as well. And I feel like Arthur Blank would like to have a guy who has the resume of a Harbaugh, but we can get into that in a little bit. Matthias, go ahead and
Mike
your
Smith is who
thoughts.
I was thinking of. He was the
Mike
coach
Smith?
when I was a kid.
Okay, yeah. Prior to Dan Quinn.
Patient with him too, because they were some
Yeah.
bad years at the end with old Mike
There were
Smith.
some really bad years.
You have any thoughts on
But
this
yeah,
firing?
for this firing, I am kind of 50-50 on it. Like, I thought that they had way too much talent, that they were underperforming, and kind of the same way that, like, we looked at Mike McDonald during the season. No, Mike McDaniel. Oh my gosh. But the way that we were looking at him during the season of like, hey, he should be on the hot seat. I thought the same way, because like they have a really good roster, a roster that should have probably ran with the South, but other than against Tampa, but they just consistently fell short. And yeah, I'm not surprised. Like, I'm surprised at the change, but at the same time, I'm not knocking it at any sort of the matter.
The roster part of it is confusing because the GM did not deserve that.
Yeah.
Because that
Yeah,
was
I get
my
that
that
too.
was my one thing of they actually I was unabashedly high on the Falcons going into the year. I don't know if that
Yeah.
word makes sense. I loved that team. I loved their offense. I thought they did good things on the defense. And so yeah, from that standpoint, I see why they fired him. But your GM built you a good roster and you just got rid of him.
I don't know if it
Yeah.
was Adam Schefter or who reported it, but I also saw its potential that Matt Ryan might be coming in as president or GM or something.
Yeah, they made up a position
Yeah,
for him. He's going to be in there.
which I can
President
understand.
of
He's
football
probably
something.
the best quarterback in franchise history, next to, I mean, he's up there with him and Michael Vick probably. But I mean, to me, I just, I mean, with that coming in, maybe that's just why they made this move because Matt Ryan wants to bring in his own people. I don't know. But we'll see what comes out of this. And I think because of the patience Arthur Blank has historically had, this is one of the more sought after jobs out of all the vacancies so far. But we could talk about that in a little bit as well. We're going to come up here to Cleveland now for Kevin Stefanski, fired by the Browns after going 3-14 and 5-12 in back-and-back seasons. I don't think the team quit on him. I think we saw that with 2 divisional wins to end the year, but certainly not enough. For me personally, though, I'm not happy about the firing because I think Kevin Stefanski had this team on the right track with the young talent we had, and we had low expectations going into this year. I think fans in Cleveland have been a little impatient this year and should have realized we weren't going to be good this year anyway, and we had to eat what was going on with the Deshaun Watson situation. However, I will say this. I am glad Jimmy Haslam has decided to keep Andrew Berry. And the reason I'm glad we've decided to retain him is it's not complete regime change. We still have somebody in the building who got some really good draft picks out of 2025 so far. You obviously hit on Quinshawn Junkins. It's looking good for Mason Graham. I believe he could draft pretty well, and I think he can in 2026 too. But having said that, I am not a fan of this firing at all. This is the best Browns coach since 1999, and that's part of the reason I'm kind of upset by it and a little sad at the same time. I will not forget the playoff win in Pittsburgh, and I will not forget us going to the playoffs in 23. Still a sad moment, but at the end of the day, this is the sports business. So I will leave the floor open to you guys. Jake, you can go ahead as another resident Browns fan on the Kevin Stefanski firing.
It sucks. That's what
I
happened.
agree.
It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little frustrated that Andrew Berry kept his job. Not because I don't think he's a good GM. I just, if you're gonna do one, you should do the other there.
Yeah.
My whole stance on it the whole time, and I've talked to people about this before. If you're gonna do, it either had to be neither or both, in my opinion. And it has nothing to do with Andrew Berry as a GM. I just think it would kind of have been nice to just get a fresh look at this roster from somebody who's never looked at it before. And that's kind of not that this is a bad roster, not that Andrew Berry crafted a
Well, it's not a
tough
good one.
situation. Right. That's why I was like, you're about to get out of the Deshaun contract next year. 2 new faces looking at this roster wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world. So new coach, new GM can kind of put the pieces in place that they want to put in place to kind of build the new version of this team. And yeah, we kind of like this was not the most well constructed roster. that you gave this coach. He had a really good draft class, and I'm not going to discredit that from Andrew Berry, but let's not forget that in this draft class, he took 2 running backs, 2 quarterbacks, a tight end, a defensive tackle, and a linebacker, and did not address the needs at wide receiver or offensive line one time. They took 0 linemen and 0 wide receivers in a draft class where you were hot and hit on almost every pick. Didn't fix any of the holes. And you probably didn't even find the quarterback in 2 tries. You didn't. Let's just be blunt. You didn't find him.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. Because I still think Shedeur
perfect timing to get a new quarterback. That's what I'll tell him.
We've seen some upside from Shedeur at the end of the season, I think. I don't think he's been great by any means necessary, but I still see that there is some upside. Now, I don't want to get crazy about the fact that I don't think Shedeur has necessarily been all world. I don't think he has been. I think he's looked like a above average 5th round pick. He's looked better than I thought than he should have looked where he was drafted. But I still have many questions, and those turnovers are a big.
If he's like starting in week 7, I'll be a little concerned.
I know unless he's out of time there. Oh, go on.
Unless he's playing unbelievable, he should not be the starter past like week 3.
He's probably going to have to compete for the job next year. And now the talks are going to be with the Browns. Could Deshaun Watson step back on the field and be the starter? That's going to be a talk this offseason because he's still under contract.
Oh,
that's going to be a talk.
So funny.
That is going to be a talk.
I'm not watching. I'm not watching a single game next year. I'm not even putting it on. I'm not doing it to myself.
A lot of Browns fans are going to be upset by that, but it's going to be a serious conversation. Should the Browns give him another chance? And with another coach that isn't Kevin Stefanski, could that coach work with Deshaun Watson if that's an option? Well, I guess we could talk about that as the offseason progresses here for the Cleveland Browns. Matthias, I will leave the floor open to you a little bit here. I know we ran out of time. Do you have anything on this firing?
One sentence. I agree with Jake.
As I said, for me, I would have kept Stefanski another year just because I think he had young players going in the right direction. And he was a 2-time coach of the year with 2 playoff appearances. The Browns had that success.
I'm not going to say it.
Since 1999. But I get the fact that he did have 2 disastrous years too. So someone had to be the fall guy, and Kevin Stefanski was. And but I am glad we're keeping Andrew Berry. I do disagree with Jake a little bit on that. Next up, to me, this was a hire that shouldn't have even happened in the first place. Pete Carroll out as Las Vegas Raiders head coach. This was a mess from the start. I don't know what the Raiders are doing. All they do is fire coaches after 1 season, if it's a season and a half, maybe 2. Josh McDaniel, season and a half. He should have never been hired in the first place either. Antonio Pierce should have been hired, and they did hire him, and they fired him too early. They only gave him 1 year, and he went 3-14. And now they had Pete Carroll, who they should have never hired, and now they fired after 1 season. And I'm trying to remember, who was the interim? It was Rich. Was it Bisaccia?
I think it was.
He was great
after John Gruden resigned. Yeah. He should have been the head coach of the Raiders, and they didn't retain him. They brought in Josh McDaniels, who didn't have a proven track record. The Raiders are a crappy organization, there's no doubt, but now they have the 1st overall pick. They're going to need to find a guy who they can give some stability to, like a 6-year deal, something like a D'Amico Ryans got when he first started in Houston. I'm going to leave the floor open to you. Pete Carroll, I think, was just a bad hire to begin with. Matthias, we could start with you on this one.
Yeah, I agree with the first, or with one of your points with Rich Bisaccia. All the way back then, I was like, why the heck did they not sign him? Because like he had those boys fighting. But for here they are now, I feel like they were just trying to replicate off of what the Seahawks were doing, kind of like how some teams do the Patriots, of like just taking all their players, and it just like it didn't work. So,
I mean, outside of Max Crosby, this might literally be the worst roster in football.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Not great.
But yeah, so when it comes to coaching, I'm the opposite. I'm surprised they only fired him after 1, because I was wondering what it would be like for Pete Carroll to have a whole year, to have another cycle with this team, growing with them, or them growing with him. et cetera, because Pete Carroll has a track record, nothing too recent, but it's like he can at least build these young guys up.
Yeah. I say he could at least build a culture.
Yeah.
But the Raiders don't have good culture to begin with, and that starts from the top of the organization.
That's why they needed Pete Carroll to build it.
Tom Brady now being part of the Raiders, he needs to have a little bit more say, in my opinion. The GOAT needs to have more say with the Raiders because I don't think Mark Davis has ever had good say with the Raiders. Go ahead.
He doesn't have a good hairstyle.
I was going to say my only addition to that is I don't know that this is a desirable location. You are going to get the number 1 overall pick, so that's great. Like, enjoy Fernando Mendoza, but
Fernando Mendoza, I don't know how much you're going to enjoy your first season in the NFL because it's going to be rough playing for the Raiders. Just like Cam Ward had a rough rookie year, Trevor Lawrence had a rough rookie year. I think whoever the Raiders draft, which is likely going to be Mendoza, is going to have a rough rookie season because the Raiders roster is just awful. And I will say this, where I do disagree with you, Jake, on the desirable location thing. Vegas is an attractive location with what's available there. But with
the city is desirable, but the team isn't.
Yes, the location in terms of the city.
Yeah, if you want to talk about real estate.
That's what I meant.
Not a desirable
I did not mean the organization.
Job.
I meant the...
I gotcha. Yeah. Yes, I would love to live in Vegas. That would be awesome.
I would
be broke in a week.
2 more coach firings.
No, probably not my best city to live in. Matthias knows too well.
John Carroll grad.
Blackjack table 24/7.
Yep.
John Carroll grad, Jonathan Gannon, done with Arizona.
Deserved.
Yes.
There's not a lot to say about this one.
There really isn't. I mean, I'll say this. It was deserved, but give the man some slack. It's the Arizona Cardinals.
Ever since he kicked it, ever since, what was it? I think he hit the running back after he fumbled the ball against the Titans. It was like he got in his face for like a good 2-3 minutes, and it was like he might have hit him or something, but it was bad. And ever since then, especially that loss against the Titans, I just felt like he lost the locker room. And then at that point, he could have been fired. Well, I was going to say yesterday, but you know what I mean. Yeah. But it was, yeah, I'm not surprised by this at all. The roster, is Arizona's roster great? No. But did he make it any better? Probably not.
That's where I was going to go. There's a difference between doing nothing with nothing and doing something with nothing. And he did nothing with nothing.
I think he did worse than nothing.
He did it. There are some coaches who can just do something with nothing. Even if you have a bad roster, you can win some games, or you can show some positivity, or there's something. I don't know that we saw anything promising from the Cardinals all season. And you could say that about a couple of different teams this year. The Raiders were up there and they fired their coach. The Jets were probably up there. They didn't, but that's probably not the coach's fault. That's one of the worst rosters too. But they didn't.
I can get into Aaron Glenn in a little bit.
Aaron Glenn deserved to keep his job, and I'm glad he did.
I agree with you there, but I'll talk about that later.
But my point is, I think Matthias, kind of hits there. They had nothing, and they are the Cardinals, but those can't be excuses for 3 wins and no fight. And every single week you went out there and everybody expected you to lose. And that's true for some teams, but even the Browns a couple of weeks, I expected them to go out and win. I don't know that we ever thought that for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I predicted the Browns were going to be 5-12 at the beginning of the season, and I was right. For me, though, regarding this to Arizona, pardon me, Jonathan Gannon, I mean, his first year, it was already a bad situation. He did improve last year, and Kyler Murray looked okay last year. Outside of Marvin Harrison Jr., who has somewhat underachieved as the top talent wide receiver we thought he would be, I still just think this roster is awful. There's nothing on this roster at all that really sticks out to me that makes me believe Jonathan Gannon could have even did any kind of good job based on what we've seen prior.
He could
I
have.
feel like he did a good job getting that roster to 8-9 last year. I really do. I really do. And this year,
And then he
the
took the same
got worse.
roster and went
Yeah,
3 and whatever. So that's the problem.
because yeah, it's a problem. It's a deserved fire, but the Cardinals are a bad organization, and I think that needs to be highlighted here. And I think Kyler Murray is going to pack his bags and be a free agent quarterback and a backup somewhere else next year. I do not see him being the future of the Arizona Cardinals, and I think the Cardinals might be in the market to draft a quarterback high, but the Jets are ahead of them, so who knows who they will pick. Alrighty, last firing, the big firing. John Harbaugh out as the Baltimore Ravens head coach. I know I've voiced my opinion on how he shouldn't have gone. I still stick by it. John Harbaugh was there for 18 seasons. And to me, he's now the most sought after coach out of all the coaches that are available, including Kevin Stefanski. It was Stefanski, and now it's John Harbaugh. And this is why I'm also against the firing. John Harbaugh is now the most sought after coach. Kevin Stefanski's too. That's why I'm against both those firing. Why would you fire guys that are probably just going to get hired by other teams? That's part of why I'm against it. At the same time, I get the fact that the Ravens went 8-9, and this year in 2026, I think they should have given him another year and a chance to redeem it. And then, if it didn't work out, I would have moved off of John Harbaugh. But to me, I don't agree with this firing. I do think, though, this is the best job available out of all the jobs that are now out. So I'll leave the floor to you guys. I know you disagree with me strongly. We've been arguing about this in our group chat for a while, too. So the floor is yours. Matthias, you can go ahead first.
All right. I am going to talk without starting an argument for a minute.
Good luck.
Yeah. So, other than this firing was deserved, it was just let's take the game against the Steelers for example. There was some very questionable play calling. Yes, they had Lamar back, but I still didn't feel like they used Derrick Henry enough, and that came to bite them. And we saw this especially when Harbaugh and Greg Roman were looking over the offense just over and over again. So when it comes to the firing, I agree. But also when you say that he is the most sought after head coach now, I also agree. I think that he could fit if he could do if he could do just as much, I guess, coaching that he does with the Ravens, if he could do that with the Falcons, I'm going to be so high on the Falcons, more than I already am. But other than that, just yeah, I just think it was the right time, right place.
Go ahead, Jake.
I think there's two ways to look at this. I think the things that you said are true. He's a good coach. He's a desirable candidate, and the Ravens are a good place to be. And sometimes you just have to end your relationship. And that's true in life. That's true in football. That's true in everything. You guys know all too well that sometimes you just need to end your relationships because the person that you are with is not good enough for your standards. And unfortunately, I think the relationship between the Ravens and John Harbaugh just wasn't there anymore. I don't think that they were on the same page. I don't think that they liked the decisions that he was making. And I also think that he probably was, I don't know the right words, but I do think it's just overdue. I think Ravens fans were over him. I think they were just tired of the same script of games where it's like, okay, we're going to pretend to be good for like 5 weeks, but then the next 5 weeks, we're going to play like absolute crap. And then we're going to pretend to be really good again. And we're going to continually have top tier rosters in the AFC, but continually do not that great with them. I mean, there's numerous seasons that they've had the best roster in the division, and they haven't won it, including this year when they had the best. They have the most talented roster in the entire division, and they didn't win it again. So I think he is a good coach, but sometimes you just have to as true as it is with players and with relationships and with everything, sometimes a change of scenery is the best thing for you. And I think a change of scenery will be the best thing for the Ravens with a new coach. And I think a change of scenery will be the best thing for Harbaugh. And
I will
that's as
say
simple
this.
as that.
John Harbaugh is a great coach as he is. He's not walking back in the Ravens' door, and I don't know who they're going to bring in that's as good as him. That's just my opinion, because I don't think
that, and I agree
there's a
with you in
candidate
that
as
part.
good as John Harbaugh that's out there. And I think Ravens fans, now you've got what you asked for. John Harbaugh is out the door.
I tried so hard to
Who
not
are you going to
start.
bring in? And I
That
will say
part,
one more thing. One more thing.
I agree with you with. It's just the idea of I can bring in anybody. I could bring in a lot of different people to go 8-9 with that roster.
If you are Jimmy Haslam and Andrew Berry, do whatever it takes to get John Harbaugh. If you're the Baltimore Ravens and you have Sashi Brown in the front office, you might want to consider Kevin Stefanski. I'm not going to lie. No, I don't want that.
Traded him for each other.
I don't want that, but you might want to consider him.
We should have just traded him.
You never know. And if Kevin Stefanski ends up the Ravens head coach, and we don't get,
I'm never watching football ever again. Okay, before we move on from coaching carousel and get to college football, Browns fans, I need to have a heart-to-heart with you because I've noticed this already on Twitter. You guys are in the replies of all of the beat reporters, and you guys are in the replies of everybody, and I shouldn't read the replies, but I do because I'm dumb. When we don't hire John Harbaugh, because he goes somewhere that is a more desirable team and organization than the Browns, I need you all to relax. I need you to appreciate and accommodate the head coach that we do bring in. We need you to trust the process. I know the process has been pretty unfortunate and it's hard to trust. If this team could sign John Harbaugh, they would. I believe that, but he's going to go to the place that he thinks is best for him. I don't think that's going to be here. So please don't freak out and complain because we hired a coach that's not him when he was probably never going to come here anyways. And that's my soapbox. I'm already seeing this. Every time we interview somebody, the whole comment section is, I don't care, it's not Harbaugh. Guess what? He might not even interview here. And you're just going to have to live with that.
No, you're not wrong.
That's all I have to say. Because I agree, I would love him. But I just don't know that he's going to come here. So when we hire somebody else who's a qualified, good candidate that most people will like, the lunatic fringe of this franchise, as they like to call it, the Buckeye fans, the Browns fans will do the same thing. There's a group of people that will never be happy no matter what the decision is, and I need y'all to understand that it's probably not going to be Harbaugh. Because I've already
probably not going to be Harbaugh.
I have already accepted the fact that he's not coming here.
I just want to say I encourage Jimmy Haslam and Andrew Berry to do whatever it takes to get Harbaugh here.
I agree.
But I am not going to assume that's happening because I know who we are. So literally just as I'm editing the podcast, we have breaking news that Mike McDaniel has been relieved of his duties from the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, Jake and Matthias aren't here right now to give their thoughts and reaction on it. I'll just say I expected this move from Miami, even though the Dolphins kind of held it together at the end of the season. This move kind of makes sense moving forward, especially since they're going to go a different direction at GM since Chris Grier was fired midway through the season. So I get this move completely, but we'll have more for you on that on next week's edition of Raw Takes & Co. Just wanted to make sure we acknowledge that this happened right before the podcast was uploaded, but literally as I'm editing the podcast, this news broke. So we didn't get to it on the pod itself, but we will certainly get to it next week on Raw Takes & Company. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, before we wrap up all the coaching firings and move on to one sentence, one pick for the playoffs, I just wanted to talk really briefly. I just wanted to talk really briefly about just a quick review of all these firings. For me, I think Kevin Stefanski and John Harbaugh were the two ones I am not a fan of, but Gannon made sense to me. And I'm not a fan of Raheem Morris either. Jonathan Gannon made sense. Pete Carroll made sense. And I think the Ravens are probably the most sought-after job now, and I'd say two would be Atlanta. I would put the Browns towards the bottom, along with Arizona. The Raiders, maybe because you have such high draft capital, and maybe Tom Brady's presence there, that might be a little higher on the list now, but that's still not a great situation either. And also, I want to mention, coaches that maybe should have been fired, but I mean, we did talk briefly about Aaron Glenn earlier. While I don't think Aaron Glenn should have been hired by the Jets to begin with, because I don't think that the Detroit Lions defense was ever that good under him, he's already with the Jets, and even though they didn't get an interception this year, they did win 3 games. The Jets were bad to begin with. Give the guy some time. and this is his chance to be a head coach. He's got to have a second year, and they're probably going to draft a quarterback. So let Aaron Glenn get that second year and try to fix things with New York.
They traded their two best players in the middle of the season
and did better.
and their whole roster had there was not a single person on that roster with more than 400 receiving yards, and I'm supposed to blame that on Aaron Glenn. So I'm glad that you said it.
Mhm.
This is the most we've agreed on this podcast, maybe ever, because I do believe I'm with you. I was listening to a different podcast this morning, and they were talking about it, and it's like you were trying actively to lose this entire season. The Jets were, and so why would you fire your coach? So that's a great point out of you. I'm glad that they didn't fire him because I saw a stat. I saw it earlier. They don't have a single player on their roster that's like over 28 or something. Like nobody drafted from 2016 or nobody drafted from before 2020 on their roster. So it's like all young dudes.
That makes
You're
sense.
trying to lose. So
yeah.
when you're trying to start to win again, that's when you keep Aaron Glenn. So really good point. Thank you, Andrew.
Well, they're keeping Aaron Glenn anyway, and they're committed to him long
Right,
term.
and they
My
should.
point is,
Yeah, I agree.
they should keep Aaron Glenn.
Let's maybe put together
I'm not a fan of the
that...
fact he got the Jets job, but at the same time, he deserves the chance to fix this mess. I think you got to give a guy time. Now that he's in place, give him time, and let's see what he can do. And if next year the Jets turn things around, then I'll have nothing but great things to say about Aaron Glenn and the job.
Let's give him a roster where we don't trade our two best players in the middle of the season.
But just to review the firings again, Matthias.
And not Brady Cook.
Anything on Aaron Glenn, maybe even? I mean, what are your thoughts?
For Aaron Glenn to play devil's advocate, he is a defensive-minded coach that has done something no other head coach, period, has done in history.
Yeah, that's tough.
But other than that, yeah, I'm okay with them giving him a second chance. And like Garrett Wilson led the team in yards or receptions. It's one of the two, and he stopped playing like week 8, I believe. So yeah, how about we wait for him to have a good roster?
Alrighty, and that's it for all the coach firings and the reviews there that we have. If you have any thoughts on what coaching candidates should go where, on what you think the best jobs are, what the worst jobs are, let us know in the comments and we'll reply next week. But we got to get to one sentence, one pick. It is the playoff edition of one sentence, one pick for the first time. Let's take a look at everything here, gentlemen. I have the playoffs and the wild card round to start things off. We'll get into the divisional, obviously, next week. 6 games this week, and we'll also go over our early Super Bowl picks here, and we'll see if we end up having those right at the end of the year. We'll discuss those, though, after we go over the wild card round. We're not going to do the entire playoffs this week. We're just doing the divisional games and our Super Bowl picks, and then we're going to move on to some college football, all right?
Love it.
Jake, once again, congratulations on being the champion of one sentence, one pick. You are going to get to pick as the king of one sentence, one pick for 2025. You're going to start the playoffs off, and we're going to get things going right away with the 5-seeded Los Angeles Rams in the NFC taking on Carolina. Now, the Carolina Panthers did host the Rams earlier in the regular season and didn't tear them apart, but won 31-28. I actually think Bryce Young had his best game of the season against the Rams. But I'll let you pick Jake first as the champion of the regular season. Rams, Panthers, go.
I would like to take the Los Angeles Rams. My sentence is, it sucks that they have to go to Carolina because they're way better, but that's how things work.
Matthias.
I picked the LA Rams, Stafford for MVP.
I was going to say that.
Rams as well, Stafford for MVP. I hope Drake May has made a case, and it's definitely going to get iffy based on how the season ended for the Rams against the Falcons, at least. That game was not good for Matthew Stafford. Let's move on. Green Bay at Chicago. This game is interesting to me. But this is, of course, the Chicago Bears, our Chicago Bears, as we like to say on this podcast. Jake, you have the first pick.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bears, man. At home, Soldier Field. The place is going to be loud. Bears.
Matthias, go ahead.
It is time for the trauma to end. I'm picking the Chicago Bears.
I'm taking the Packers as a 7 seed. I just think Jordan Love, if he's healthy and playing well in this game, he's the better quarterback over Caleb Williams. He has the playoff experience. And I trust Matt LaFleur in the playoffs more than Ben Johnson as of right now. Ben Johnson, though, has had a great season, and I want to give the Bears tons of credit, but I think Green Bay is going to win at Soldier Field. As long as Jordan Love is healthy, I am keeping an eye on the Packers to upset Chicago at home. Buffalo at Jacksonville going into the
Packers
Sunday.
are favored in that game.
They are favored. Okay, so that's good to know. And I'm still riding with the Packers in this one. Buffalo at Jacksonville. Jake, go ahead.
Jacksonville.
You're taking the Jags at home.
Yeah.
Why so?
Buffalo is notoriously not that liked on this podcast, and I don't trust them to go into Jacksonville and win.
I mean, I've always liked Buffalo, but you guys know that I agreed with the fact that they're probably a little overrated. I'm not going to argue that. All right, so Jacksonville for Jake. Go ahead, Matthias.
It's so funny because I made one comment 3 months ago. Now I have to keep this narrative that I don't like the Bills. Because I love Josh Allen.
I've really also
I love Josh Allen too. I'm not going to argue.
I've really leaned into it for you, so I do feel bad. But now I'm also kind of stuck on the bit.
Yeah.
Because I leaned into it for you. So we're going to do it together.
But it's like, my pick is Jacksonville.
You're taking the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right.
Saxonville.
You guys know I love the Jacksonville Jaguars, right?
Yeah, you're a Trevor Lawrence guy.
You guys know I also like the Buffalo Bills, despite the fact we've been streaky on them all year. But I'm riding it out with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and here's why. Buffalo has never won a road playoff game. There has never been a 6 seed under more pressure than the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is the quarterback with the most pressure on him in these playoffs. And while I do trust Josh Allen for the most part under pressure, I just have not seen the Bills get it done consistently all year long. I just haven't seen it. So I am very worried about them in the playoffs. Jacksonville, they're still kind of a prove-it team too, but they've shown me more consistency this year. So I'm taking the Jags, and I have been a big fan of the Jags all season long, so I feel like I got to ride it out with them here. All right.
7 sentences, 1 pick.
I was going to say, they call it the world's longest sentence.
Probably the longest sentence. I rambled a little bit there, but you guys know how much I love Jacksonville. I'm taking the Jags. So far, we only have one different pick. I picked the Packers over Chicago. San Francisco at Philadelphia. Jake, go ahead.
I really want to take the Niners, but the health concerns of Ricky Pearsall and Trent Williams concern me. And I saw how they looked against Seattle with those two, and I don't think they're going to look much better against Philly in Philly with those two. So unfortunately, I shouldn't say that. That was mean. Eagles.
Matthias, Philly, San Fran.
San Fran, Brock Purdy, get right game.
We got a different pick. All right. I'm also taking the Niners. Different game. I don't buy the Eagles whatsoever. And I think the Niners will rebound against the Eagles. And I think Brock Purdy will too. Although, yeah, I am with Jake on some of the health concerns, but I still think with George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey and everybody on offense, I don't want to have 7 more sentences. San Francisco is my pick. All righty. Los Angeles Chargers at the New England Patriots, Jake.
This is an easy one. New England by 2 or more touchdowns.
All right, Matthias.
I'm picking New England, and my sentence is Justin Herbert should have more pressure on him.
Well. I'm picking the Chargers. I'm picking both 7 seeds to win. And here's why. New England has only beaten, they've only beaten one playoff team that has a winning record all year. And it was the Buffalo Bills in the first matchup. That's it. They lost to the Bills the second time, and they lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The other playoff team they played, Carolina, doesn't have a winning record. So New England has had a cupcake schedule. Although New England is fun, I like them a lot overall. They've had a fun year. I am not so sure they're going to make a deep playoff run. Go Chargers in this one. Go Bolts. I think the Chargers have better playoff experience and are going to win this game despite the injuries. All right, Houston, Pittsburgh. Here
I
we
don't
go.
think I've ever been more proud of you other than that take.
Well, how so? Before we move on, I'm sorry.
You had stats, you had history. Like, man, that
My
was
man was Googling.
I
He was
like what Mike
researching.
Vrabel's doing in
Yeah.
New England. I want to emphasize that. And I think Drake May has been great. I'm not arguing that. But Buffalo, twice. One win over Buffalo is the only win against a team with a winning record they have this year. And I'm just
Yeah, they're also just much better than the Chargers. That's my only thing. Because
But
that's
what
all.
evidence
I
do
don't
we
know.
have to prove that when they haven't played a team as good as
All right, move on. We're moving on. We're moving on.
All right.
The
Houston
Chargers
and
stink.
Pittsburgh.
That's my proof.
Jake, go ahead. Houston, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you know who I'm taking here. Houston by 3,000.
Matthias, go ahead.
I really want to root for my team. That's my sentence. My pick is Houston.
Oh.
No, I changed my sentence. My sentence is if the Steelers win, I'm going to be insufferable next week.
I might not show up.
You guys know how much I love the Houston Texans. I've been a huge fan of them since they turned their whole season around. But believe it or not, I'm taking the Steelers here.
They have voodoo magic. They're probably going to win.
I said I have the Houston Texans going all the way to the AFC Championship, and that was going to be my bold prediction, but I don't. I think the Steelers at home have a shot here. I think Mike Tomlin is the coach under the most pressure in these playoffs, more so than McDermott even, because I think Pittsburgh Steelers fans have been calling for him for a while, and I think he needs to win this playoff game more than any other coach in the National Football League right now. This is Mike Tomlin's time to shine, and I think he's going to come through. I'm taking the Steelers at home, and I think Aaron Rodgers shows that offensive experience. And also, the Steelers' offense is pretty good. The defense I worry about, but Houston's offense hasn't been spectacular. Again,
I have a stat for you about Mike Tomlin. He hasn't won a playoff game in the 2020s, so let's see if he can get it done.
I think this is going to be the playoff game of the 2020s he wins. I'm changing my Texans prediction of them making to the AFC Championship. I know
Also, still
on a prior podcast. I don't think that's
also they have DK back.
That's huge.
That's another reason. They do have DK Metcalf back. That'll be big. All right, early Super Bowl predictions. We're going to start off with Jake. Who do you think is going to be in the dance?
Seattle and the loser.
We got to pick someone in the AFC.
I like Seattle and the loser.
Seattle and Denver.
Seattle and Denver.
I don't even believe that. I don't like anybody in the AFC.
That would be a repeat of I don't remember the number, but was it Super Bowl 48 or 49?
They played twice, I think.
Scorigami Super Bowl 43-8, where Russell Wilson went off, and
I know they only played the one time.
I think it was the first time Denver made it with Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Of course, the Broncos made it later on. Okay, so Seattle, Denver for Jake. Matthias.
I don't even believe that, but it's fine.
The ones that are punching their tickets to the dance. I'm scared of Matthew Stafford as a Steeler. I mean, as a Steelers fan too, but as a Seattle fan. I'm going to say Seattle too. I'm going to bet on my team. And for the second, for second place, I'm trying to picture the bracket.
Can I change my pick?
Go ahead. What do you want to pick?
I just realized I had 2 1 seeds. So I'm taking Jacksonville and Seattle.
Oh, a team that's never been to the
Sorry,
Super
if you were about to do that, Matthias, I didn't want to step on your toes, but
No,
I
you're
just
good.
realized I picked 2 1 seeds and I can't do that.
I got Houston and
I like that. I like that.
Houston and Seattle.
I like that a lot.
We should also emphasize 2 teams are in the bracket that have never made the Super Bowl before, and the Jaguars and the Texans. We should emphasize that. My picks, I'm also taking Jacksonville from the AFC. I'm taking the Rams as a straight road dog to make it all the way. I really love the Rams, and I think Matthew Stafford has had an exceptional season. And they were in a wild card game. I think they won the division, though, that year when they won the Super Bowl the first time. So I think it is in the Rams to do it. I am going Rams, Jaguars in the Super Bowl. That is my prediction. And so we will show off here our picks for the
Congratulations to
wild
all of
card
those
round.
teams for missing the Super Bowl.
Yep. Congrats
So-
to the Chicago Bears for winning.
Hey, bro, that wouldn't even be bad.
Now, we're not picking our Super Bowl winner right now. We're going to do that on a later podcast.
Oh, I said mine already.
I also said mine.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know where my head was, but I am taking
Same
the
place it
Rams
always
to
is,
win the
bud.
Super Bowl. I think I essentially said mine too. I'm taking the Rams over the Jags. What was yours again, Jake?
Seattle.
And Matthias.
I also had Seattle.
So we have 2 for Seattle, and I have the Rams. So we have an NFC West Super Bowl champion regardless. The Seattle Seahawks are fun. I am rooting for them to win a playoff game unless they play the Rams because I love Matthew Stafford. And I really think the Rams can, as complete road dogs, go on a tear in the NFC. Because that's how I think the NFC is right now. I really think the Rams can beat everybody over there. I really do.
I think
Moral of the story is
Uh-huh.
NFC's winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
NFC winning the Super Bowl from all of us. But we also have teams making their first Super Bowl appearance between Jacksonville and Houston. All right. That is our Super Bowl picks, and that is our picks for the wild card round. We will be back to review the playoff games and pick the divisional games next week. And we'll see even if our Super Bowl picks are still possible by the end of the wild card round. All righty. Moving on now to college football. We got a lot to get to here too, gentlemen. Jake, though, really quickly, he wanted 3 minutes to talk about the FCS Championship. Floor is yours.
Yeah, this is going on. I wanted to point out something that I thought was really funny. We spent entire Monday night in our group chat arguing about Harbaugh and Tomlin. While that was going on, the FCS Championship game was a banger. Ended 35-34 Montana State over Illinois State. Illinois State would have been the equivalent of if Tulane had made the national championship from FBS D1. Complete underdogs. They were 12-4 and were in the playoff thing. So, like, because the way the FCS does it, it's awesome. Anybody can win. They were a super Cinderella. As Matthias and I talked about, you mentioned it. Matthias sent a text saying, I can't believe they came back. They were down 21-7. I turned it off, thought for sure it was over, checked the score. It was 28-28 in the fourth quarter. And that's really all you need to know, because fourth quarter consists of touchdown Illinois State to make it 21-28. Montana State's next drive, punt, 3 plays, -8 yards. Blocked field goal for Illinois State, lines up. They're going to kick the game-winning field goal, blocked. Next possession, after the blocked field goal, Montana State has the ball in field goal range to win the game. First down, 8 yards. Beautiful. You're set up. Second down, no gain. No problem. Just run the ball on third down. You're fine. Nope. Snap the ball over his head. Loss of 20. They have to punt. We're going to overtime. And it only gets crazier from there. Illinois State, 2-play touchdown drive to start overtime. 15-yard catch, then a 10-yard catch and run. Extra point for the lead to go up 7. It's blocked. Blocked again. Montana State blocks 2 kicks in the final 5 minutes of this game to pull out a chance to win. Montana State's possession. March down the field. They get a 3rd and 10 situation. No gain, incomplete pass. Quarterback had an open man. He dropped it. 4th down and 10 for the championship. Their first one since 1980, whatever. They run the exact same play that they ran on 3rd down. The exact same play. And this time they throw it for a touchdown. Unbelievable finish. That doesn't even tell the story of this game. I think Montana State false started like 9 times, which is unbelievable. They had a huge false start on one of their last drives that almost cost them. Unbelievable football game. My group chat was going crazy. I could not believe that they legitimately called a timeout and called the exact same play. It was so cool. It was like a crosser concept. The one time he threw it to the guy going this way, the second time he threw it to the guy going this way. They were both wide open both times. So I don't know what Illinois State was doing defensively, but 4th and 10 touchdown pass to walk it off. Kid makes the extra point. Unbelievable football game. That just goes to show you There is good football all over, and that was one of the best games you'll watch all year. Unbelievable.
Game for the FCS Championship. Jake, thank you very much for bringing that up as we get into the college football playoffs now, as bowl season is kind of starting to come to a close with only 3 major games left. So let's get right to it, gentlemen. We're going to start things off on New Year's Eve, one of the last football games of 2025. Ohio State falls to Miami 24-14. Ohio State made it a game in the second half, but Miami took it over in the first and essentially ran with it. And how embarrassing is this for Ohio State to lose to an ACC school? And what does this mean for their future in the Big Ten?
What does that mean?
Oregon
That's
and
so
Indiana.
disrespectful to the poor ACC.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They
Miami's
lost to an
always-
ACC school. I'm sorry, they did. And yes,
Miami's always been a good school.
Miami has been good out of everybody in the ACC.
There's an ACC
But
school
still.
1 win away from the national championship.
Yeah, Miami.
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly.
Okay, that would be legit.
That's it. That's it. They lost to an ACC school, period.
We're not.
Then Miami has
really-
2 weird losses on their schedule from this year. They lost to
We're not doing
Louisville, and I forget the other one, but it was a weird loss.
SMU.
What was it?
SMU.
SMU, yep. Yeah, still. Weird losses from Miami. I still agree.
Weird
they
losses
won
from Ohio
clearly.
State, including Miami.
Ohio State lost to Indiana, sure, but Indiana didn't torch them like Miami did. Indiana, at least, Ohio State was in the game the whole time. Gentlemen, go ahead. I'm pissed at this game. I really am. Go ahead.
I
Joe.
thought we were in the game most of the time.
Not at the beginning. Not at the beginning. We were in
Buckeyes got out coached. It's plain and it's flat. It's plain and simple as that. They got out coached on both sides of the ball.
Carson
I texted
Beck
in
was
my-
great in that game. I just want to throw that out. But still, go ahead.
I texted in my other group chat with my friends. I said, I think Matt Patricia's getting out coached. And my one friend replied and said, so is Ryan Day. And I said, yeah, except Ryan Day gets out coached quite often. That's the problem. He's not a very good offensive coordinator when he doesn't have a real offensive coordinator. So Buckeye, that was what this came down to for me, was Jeremiah Smith goes for 7 for 157 and a touchdown, and you put up 14 points because you got out coached. Your defense didn't play very well. Miami schemed you to death the whole day. And offensively, there's just no juice, because when this team doesn't have an offensive coordinator, and I don't want to say Brian Hartline's a bad offensive coordinator. He's not. And I wish him all the best, but he's not. He's in his second year as being an OC. We needed a real coach, a real offensive coordinator, and we got out coached. And that's all I have. Please hire somebody who's done this before. Brian Dable, save us soon.
You want Brian Dable to come in as the offensive coordinator?
Yes. Yes, I do.
I would love that. I would love that. Matthias, you have anything before we move on?
That's Chip Kelly 2.0.
Yeah. I don't have much other than just Jake already hit it on the head, but just for a little bit of debrief of, they felt like they got out schemed, and this also felt like one of the first games where Julian Sayin could not breathe, and it was a time where, okay, you're getting pressured. What are you going to do now? And other than having Jeremiah Smith, he didn't do what was expected out of him. He got less yards without Jeremiah Smith than he did throwing it to Jeremiah Smith. And that's what I'm going to do.
I'm just lost for words, because I just could not believe Ohio State lost to an ACC school. And yeah, I mean it. I do mean it. Miami was the better team, though, period. Ohio State, please figure out a way to be up there with Indiana and Oregon for the future, because I don't know. I don't know what their future looks like. It looks bleak to me, seeing what's coming up in the Big Ten. All right, moving on. Oregon absolutely smoking Texas Tech 23-0. Texas Tech looked like they didn't even deserve a bye. They probably didn't deserve a bye, but they had one anyway. A 25-day bye week, of course, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Matthias, you can start off with this one.
I don't have much. I forget. I forgot who I even chose for this game. But
I'm pretty sure you picked Oregon, and Jake picked Texas Tech.
I picked Texas Tech because you made a stupid pun and I didn't like it. So let's just keep that in mind. I would have picked Oregon, but Andrew said something I didn't like. He made a quack pun or a duck pun or something. I don't remember what it was, but that's why I chose
That
Tech.
guy
I
said the
made it
Ducks go
abundantly clear.
quack or something in this one and win the game.
Yeah, something I didn't like.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm happy I got the prediction right. I'm just kind of more so like, man, this national championship season felt like Ohio State versus everybody, and then everybody won. So like, unless Ole Miss pulls something out of their butts and wins this, I don't really care.
Jake, do you have anything?
I think it's a little. I think Texas Tech, despite the score, their defense played amazing in this game. I wish their offense would have given them anything. Texas Tech is legit. Their defense was legitimate. I wish that they were going to have this defense next year when they have a new quarterback. But shout out to David Bailey. That kid's going to be awesome. Top 10 pick in the NFL draft. I thought it was really fun to watch Texas Tech's defense continually try and keep a dead offense in the game. Probably kept them in much longer than they should have. I don't think 23-0 really says how close this was. It wasn't close offensively, but it was close where it felt like if Texas Tech could just get one score, they were obviously right back in it. They just couldn't get the one score, but their defense kept them in it long enough until they just kind of ran out of gas. But Oregon's good. I don't know that they proved that they're like incredible in this game. I thought that there was a lot of things that Indiana will be able to exploit, but we'll see.
Dante Moore on the offense was shut down pretty good by Texas Tech's defense. I definitely think that's something to mention here. But for me, Oregon still controlled the entire game. They just had complete control from kickoff all the way till the clock hit triple zeros in the fourth quarter.
I don't think their offense had control. I think Texas Tech's defense controlled a lot of what happened. They just ran out of gas. They just eventually.
But Oregon, they ran out of gas, and as I said, Texas Tech's defense played good. But Texas Tech's offense was a no-show. And
Oregon dominated on
controlled the entire game.
These defenses controlled the games for sure.
And that might be a tough matchup for Indiana. But speaking of Indiana, we're going to talk about them real quick. I can't tell you how happy I am by what Indiana did. I can't tell you. 38-3 over Alabama. They made Alabama look like a terrible program. Alabama losing this game to the magnitude and to any program they lost to. Indiana. They lost to India, the Hoosiers. And listen, the Hoosiers are for real now. I totally get that. But Alabama is one of the staple college football programs. And Indiana barely beat Oregon and barely beat Ohio State. And Indiana, yes, deserves all the credit in the world for turning everything around. I'm not taking that away from them. But isn't this terrific that Alabama got smoked by the Hoosiers the way they did? Like smoked. And Curt Cignetti maybe holding a little bit of that grudge because he used to work for Alabama as well. But please, that was awesome. I'm so glad this game panned out the way it did. Props to Fernando Mendoza and the Indiana Hoosiers. And part of me is rooting for them to win the whole thing at this point, to be honest with you, because it'll be good for the Big Ten and because they were a program that came out of nowhere the last couple of years. I'm going to leave the floor open. Matthias, you want to start off here?
Yeah. I was going to go more so on the Curt Cignetti route because he.
And I'm just glad this happened, really.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this game just proved to me that Curt Cignetti is a madman. Like, he was just like. He's for real, and I really like his coaching style. I really love, and like in this day and age, he still has that coach mentality, but that more so that coach intensity, like you need, like you know what I'm talking about without me saying it.
Every time they panned to him on the sideline, he was making an angry face.
Yeah,
is what you made. They were up 38-3, and he made the same "I'm displeased" face.
Yeah, pretty much. Like he just always wanted more. That's just what it looked like. And yeah, I'm I'm excited for Indiana. I'm happy for them winning this game, and I'm also happy that Alabama lost, because they shouldn't have been there in the first place, in my humble opinion.
I agree with that 100%.
But yeah, that's all I got on this game.
Jake, before I let it go to you, just one other thing I wanted to bring up for the Alabama side of things, and I'm glad that Matthias brought up the Kurt Signetti stuff because that is huge. He has turned an entire program around, and he needs to get a ton of credit. But Kalen DeBoer is on the hot seat, I think, officially after a loss like that, and also Ty Simpson, for as good of a year as he had, very, very bad game for him in that playoff game. I just want to throw that out there. He did not look good at all, and he's had a
Played like trash for about 3 months, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
I think he played okay at the beginning of the year and was okay. Like he played good, better at the beginning of the year, but was like okay in the month of this November, and then it just kind of all went against him against the Indiana Hoosiers. But go ahead, Jake.
should not have declared for the draft, by the way, but that's a different story. We'll talk about.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Don't know why he did that.
Kalen DeBoer on the hot seat, and Kurt Signetti did a great job, and Fernando Mendoza, yada yada yada. And Jake, you have anything?
We should be scared of Indiana.
Agreed.
Not only because they're doing this, in the midst of this playoff run, they've already replaced Fernando Mendoza and already replaced their number one receiver with two really great options from the transfer portal. So I don't really know when Kurt Signetti sleeps, because it seems like he's either game planning, snarling at somebody, or grabbing somebody out of the transfer portal. I don't know when he sleeps, but they're literally going to run it back next year with another great quarterback and wide receiver combo. And this is the new age of college football, and nobody's doing it better than Signetti. He's saying, I don't need a freshman quarterback. I'm not going to develop somebody. I'm just going to keep grabbing seniors who want to come win national championships. So he's got Mendoza. Next year, he's going to have Josh Schubert from TCU, who's a really good player. And again, good for them. And Mark Cuban just donated them $1 bazillion to their NIL funds. So we're probably all screwed.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to watch how Indiana pans out with the Big Ten, because right now they look like the powerhouse program. Oregon and Ohio State might be the second tier now. I mean, that's how good Indiana looks for their future and for everything they're doing right now. But we also have to get to the other game, which I think was the best game of the slate for college football here. Ole Miss and Georgia was just a banger game, guys. That game was awesome from start to finish. And you guys know how much I don't like the SEC. Ole Miss is the only team from the SEC I enjoy rooting for because it's Ole Miss. I haven't been there before. But because it's the SEC, I'm kind of rooting against them here late, and I'm kind of rooting for Miami to beat them as an ACC school, and I think they will, but we'll get into the picks later.
Can you stop disrespecting the poor ACC? They didn't do anything wrong.
The only thing they did wrong is they're just not the SEC or the Big Ten. But granted,
no, they have more teams than they've got just as many teams as the SEC does in the Final Four.
Ole Miss won this game without Lane Kiffin. They deserve a ton of props. They beat Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, they came back and did it. Georgia put them in some trouble before. But the fact that this game came down to what it came down to, and that safety also helped out to make this a 5-point game, I mean, holy smokes. This game from start to finish was beautiful, in my opinion. It was definitely the best game of the slate. Didn't expect it to be, and I don't think anyone expected Georgia to blow it to Ole Miss. But good for Ole Miss. Good for Ole Miss. Leave the floor open. And no Lane Kiffin, especially. We got to emphasize Lane Kiffin is in LSU now. Wow.
Trinidad Chambliss, 30 for 46, 362 yards, 2 touchdowns. He showed up. That's really all I got, because I was looking for the stats on this game.
Lane Kiffin didn't.
And I saw 362 yards, and he capitalized off of those. Like, this team is my favorite. I want them to finish this story of having this great season. Their head coach leaves them high and dry nearing the end of this season, and then they win anyways. I think that would be hilarious, and I think that would be deserved for Ole Miss and for Lane Kiffin to not get any credit of that when it comes to the playoffs.
You have anything, Jake?
Yeah, I'm pretty upset at Zoom right now because I can't find the flag for, there it is, for Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh, there we go.
I was looking for it the whole time. Go. She's awesome. I thought it was so funny, Lane Kiffin tweeting the Trinidad flag all during the game. There it is. I did find it. That's awesome. He's awesome. Those were three of the best plays I've ever seen consecutively, maybe in my life, where he looked like he should have been sacked, and then he just flicks his wrist downfield, and there's a first down. I mean, he's awesome. You got to give Ole Miss's defense some credit for really battling back in the second half and making life really tough on Gunnar Stockton. I mean, Gunnar Stockton is probably still sore today with all the hits that he took. What a physical game. But yes, like you said, really fun. Best game of the slate. And that was really fun. I hope that I'm rooting for Ole Miss because I really enjoyed watching Chambliss, but I've also kind of had a soft spot for them just because like they're kind of that SEC team that they just feel easy to root for because they're not like one of the bad guys. They're not the Alabama. They're not the Georgia. They're not the Florida. They're not the LSUs. They're just kind of like we're always good, but we're never over the hump good. And so I agree. I think I am. They are one of the SEC teams I always enjoy rooting for.
They're like one of the teams to me that like I don't pay attention to college football too much, but I always pay attention to like Marshall. I pay attention to Ohio State, but the two teams that I always like are like Arkansas Razorbacks. They always play their heart out.
They sure do.
South Carolina. I don't think I'm allowed to say their team name, but they're also really fun. And Ole Miss. Like that's the tier that I have them in, where it's
Ole
just
Miss,
like they're going to fight every game, and if you're not careful, they're going to punch you in the mouth.
Ole Miss over the last, really in the Lane era, they've also just been so much fun. Their offenses have been incredible. And that to me is what makes them so enjoyable to watch. I think that's why I've had like this little soft spot for them because it's like you go from Matt Corral to Jackson Dart to Trinidad Chambliss, and you've got all these great receivers there in all that time. Elijah Moore and DK Metcalf and Trae Harris and just all these. They have aura around them of this offense. It's like they could put up 50. They might just give up 55.
Yeah.
And that's what's fun there. You never know what you're going to get with them.
You never do know. And having said that, though, we do have to get to our one sentence, one pick for the next two college games. Indiana and Oregon. Really quickly, let's go with Matthias to start things off. Who you got going to the national championship?
Hot take, let's go Oregon.
All right, Jake, go ahead.
I'm going to take Indiana. Despite how hard it is to beat a team 2 times in the same year, Indiana continues to do things I don't expect them to do.
I agree with you, Jake. I think it is tough to beat a team 2 times in the same year. But to me, I just saw Indiana roll Alabama like it was nothing. To me, Oregon struggled with Texas Tech. And I think Indiana just rolling is going to help them out in this game more so than where Oregon was. Miami versus Ole Miss. Matthias, go ahead.
I'm going for the 2 underdogs, Ole Miss.
All right, Jake, go ahead.
I want to take Ole Miss. I just don't know. I feel like I feel like they kind of have exhausted all their momentum and energy. And they're kind of like, how much of that magic do you still have? So I'm going to take Miami because I just think Miami's kind of more level-headed. They're not running on this adrenaline high. And I think they're probably the more complete team in theory. So I think Ole Miss is a fun story, but I'm taking Miami.
I'm also going to take Miami because I think it'll just be great to not have the SEC in the national championship under any circumstance. Even though I love Ole Miss and they've been fun to watch, I also think Miami has been very, very good in the playoffs, especially defensively. And I think they kind of showed off how good they could be against Ohio State. And I think that'll be the situation against Ole Miss. So that means Indiana and Miami is my pick for the national championship. For Matthias, it's Oregon and Ole Miss. And for Jake, it's also Indiana and Miami.
A lot of teams here that have never won a national championship.
And
All
we'll
of
take
them,
it.
except Miami.
We'll take it. We will take it. I'm hopeful.
So we're unless Miami
moments.
wins, it's a team that's never won a national championship. So
And
that's
you know
cool.
what? That's
or
great
like an outright.
It's great for college football, and I am excited to see who pulls it off. And
Come
I'm
on,
hoping it's either Indiana or Oregon because it'll be good for the Big Ten.
I don't want Oregon because I really enjoy the memes about how their logo is also their number of championships. And I like to keep using that against them as a Buckeye fan to just go like this. It's like, oh, you have 0 championships, just like your O. That sucks. So
I also really am a big fan of Dan Lanning, man. He's just great.
Dan Lanning's awesome. He is awesome.
He is just fun. He is just a lot of fun. But you know what it's time for? It's time for some hoops.
Oh,
Not
man.
the good kind.
You know who's got the floor? Do we want to start off with what happened with Trae Young, Matthias? Or
Felt like it was 3 days ago how long this podcast has been going.
I agree. But yeah, we let's start with Trae Young. I'm going to
No, just let the clock tick. It's at 16:30. Go ahead.
Perfect.
We should talk about Trae.
First,
Ice Trae.
Going to Washington. Traded for CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. I am not looking at this for the Atlanta side. First, I'm going to look at this for the Washington. They got the bigger name.
Disrespectful to Corey Kispert.
I was going to say while I was working at the Rocket like 2 years ago, CJ McCollum's dad, I got to be his cashier, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you know my son." I'm like, "Who's your son?" He was like, "CJ McCollum." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I do. Nice to meet you." So yeah,
of course I know your son.
Northeast Ohio native.
Yeah,
Canton.
But yeah, I think like they already had a fun young core. Were they good? Absolutely not. But they were young. And now they're getting even younger with Trae Young. Unfortunately, they lost Corey Kispert.
Is that a pun? Because if it wasn't, that was really good.
It wasn't. I wish it was. But yeah, I think this team, as long as Trae Young buys into their system, I don't know why he wanted to go there, but since he did, he sees something.
10 and 26?
You said what?
I wanted to
10
chime
and
in
26.
Here. I know Matthias has this thing here, but I did want to chime in. Washington's going nowhere. So why does Trae Young want to be there?
Matthias, give us your best guess.
I think.
And why would Washington want him? Like they're a tanking team.
Because Washington has been very much a team that they're like, oh, somebody wants to come here, we'll take you.
Yo, I love this roster. I'm not gonna front.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. This roster,
I'm gonna let you cook. I'm sorry.
Like they're
Trae Young could be the guy in Washington, but he was also the guy in Atlanta. Like to me, I don't.
No, let him cook. I know where he's going. I think this is gonna be good.
Thought DeJounte Murray paired next to him was a great decision, but yeah, this team, they're young. If Trae Young buys into this system, give this team 4 or 5 years, everybody develops. If Trae Young continues his trajectory, this team could be scary. They have a lot of young, fun pieces that just need to become young, good pieces.
Yeah, I really like this roster. This is the first time I've ever looked at it.
I think it's going to be the first time a lot of people have looked at the Wizards roster.
It's still the Wizards, though. Like I mean, that's the bottom line.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Charlotte Hornets have been young before, and they still don't find ways to win.
I mean, the Charlotte Hornets have Michael Jordan, and they haven't been doing well. But they did well recently.
Michael Jordan's not on the floor playing basketball. There was a place in time where the Washington Wizards were a really fun organization. When they had the Wall.
Oh, yeah, there was. Back in the day.
Back in the day.
That long ago.
Back in the day, meaning the 2010s. That's back in the day to me now, okay? It's 2026.
Last time that Harbaugh and Tomlin won a Super Bowl, but it wasn't that long ago.
That's also back in the day, too, honestly. Back to the NBA. This is an NBA discussion.
So, next thing I want to talk about.
I just like to point out one thing.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
No, it is about the Wizards.
Okay.
A couple of guys on this roster, I don't know how they got to Washington, but I'm excited. Malachi Branham, Buckeyes legend, Hooper, Cavs legend, or Canton Charge legend, Sharif Cooper's on this roster.
I forgot they have Sharif.
Maybe they'll go 46-0 and finish the year 56-26.
Will Riley, who I absolutely loved at Illinois last year. They've got best number 2 overall pick of all time, Marvin Bagley, or number 1 overall pick, whatever he was.
Number 3.
Trae Johnson, absolute bucket getter. Trae Johnson and Trae Young is electric. All right, that's all I got. Keep going.
Yeah.
I'm a Wizards fan now.
But going to what happened, I'm going to start with yesterday's slate, talking about as of this recording Wednesday's games. So right now, as this podcast is being recorded, we have seen 3 game winners, and I remember 2. So the Utah Jazz kept it close with the OKC Thunder after the Thunder were already on a 2-game losing streak. And that had to be settled with a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, not only 33-point performance, but also a game winner. Like I said, the Jazz have been fun, and they're kind of like the Ole Miss to me of the NBA, where if you think they're sweet, they're going to punch you in the mouth, and then you're going to be like, wait a minute, this is Utah. Why did they just do that? So that was fun. And the next game winner was Paolo hitting a game winner over, I forgot who they played, but
PB No J, did he hit a jump shot?
Yeah, it was a fadeaway 3 actually.
Oh, that's my bad, Paolo. My bad.
I was thinking about that while I saw the shot go in. I was like, wow, that's poetic.
It really is.
But they're starting to get on the right track as well. After a whole lot of losses earlier in the season, they're starting to turn it around. Yeah, the NBA is definitely back in full swing. And then, yeah, there's another game winner. These games have been really fun. The Celtics just got done losing to the Nuggets without Jokic. And going to the rest of this past week, the Thunder, I'm not going to say I'm worried about them, but I'm going to point some stuff out. First, they lost by 27 to the Charlotte Hornets.
To the Hornets?
And then they followed it up to losing.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, and then they followed it up to losing again by a game winner from Devin Booker.
These bros were supposed to go 70 whatever and 7, and now they have
74 and 8.
Yeah,
it's the NBA. I think we're just starting to see that the Thunder are human, and as good as they are, this is also the regular season, and none of this matters anyway.
They just gave up 15 rebounds to Yusuf Nurkic today in 2026. I'm out.
This is the NBA regular season, okay?
Yes, it matters.
Everybody relax.
Deontay George, though, 11 assists, 6 turnovers. That's my kind of hooper. Just chuck the ball and hope it goes somewhere cool.
He has been so fun.
I love him, dude. He was so fun at Baylor.
But yeah, also the Thunder with the best record in the league, 31-7, but the Pistons are 28-9. So not that far away, at least in my opinion.
Oh, geez.
Along with that, speaking of the Pistons, they just won today, off of a close game. Pulling that up right now.
They beat the Bulls by 15.
Yeah, not as close, my bad. But this game was without Jalen Duren and without Cade Cunningham, and Isaiah Stewart stepped up for them. They went up against the contending New York Knicks, beat them 121-90, and then played against the Cavs at home and won 114-110. And I know you're going to talk about Isaiah Stewart having a 33-point game.
No, today.
What? Yeah.
St. John's legend, Dennis Jenkins, 15 assists and 1 turnover. Where the heck did that guy? I mean, I know he's from St. John's, but I did not know he was hooping like that.
I didn't know he was hooping like that. I didn't even
My
look at the stats.
God.
The
I
Pistons
love
look like the
this.
best team in the NBA right now, in all honesty. They look better than the
Dude, if
Thunder.
they're getting 15 assists from Dennis Jenkins every night, I mean, they're not, but that team's deep.
Yeah.
I did not
Like
know he was playing like that. 2.6 rebounds, 15 assists, 1 of 8 from the floor. Welcome back, Rajon Rondo.
close enough.
Right? I mean, basically.
But yeah, JB Bickerstaff has this team humming along defensively, and offensively. They found Cade and Jalen Duren, who I think that they are both all-star caliber, and they've proven today that they are deep even without their 2 stars. I had a question for you guys of might they be a real team? Like if the playoffs started tomorrow, would they be like a top 2, a top 3, a top 2? And for me,
Definitely.
yeah, for me it looks like it.
Are they still too young, or do we think they have the experience now? That would be my only thing.
I would say
they're
this.
very young.
I don't think I'd have them going to the finals, but this team could definitely go to the Pistons, that is. They could definitely go to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Did they make the playoffs last year?
They did. They lost to the New York Knicks in 6 games in the first
Oh,
round.
yeah. Oh, they're
they
fine.
did.
No, they're
Yeah.
fine. I remember how hard they played against the Knicks in that. They'll be fine. Never mind.
They almost beat the Knicks and forced a 7-game series.
They should have. Yeah, I remember that.
I don't think they
that
are
was
going
a great
to
series.
beat the Knicks
That was so
in a
good.
playoff series, but I will say I do think the Detroit Pistons have what it takes.
They
to
got to
get
get
over
somebody
the
at the
playoffs.
deadline and get
Certainly
over
the
the hump.
Cavaliers don't have that.
I think
And the Boston Celtics, I still don't trust, even though they're winning. I don't trust
12 assists. Oh,
no
Trae.
Jason Tatum,
That's not
no
surprising.
Porzingis anymore. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. So I have more faith in Detroit and New York right now.
So I'm going to tackle this one at a time. So first for Detroit, if they are real, this roster reminds me too much of the 2005 Pistons or the 04 Pistons. That makes me a little bit scared. They are not afraid to throw down with anyone, especially with a coach that is petty, with JB Bickerstaff being like, oh, the Cavs fired me. How about I just do better somewhere else?
Is that the year they won the finals?
Yeah. That was when they beat the Shaq and Kobe Lakers.
Cool. Just checking. Chauncey and them.
Yeah, and then other than that, the Cavs, I was initially going to come on here and say that the Cavs have been playing good, which they have. They have been fighting. It feels like they're getting back in the swings of things. I think this just showed how important Darius Garland is for the offense, that even though Donovan Mitchell may be the best player, DG might be the heart and soul of this team.
He definitely is.
So yeah, I think they should keep it around. Well, I have other things to say about Evan Mobley, especially him being on my fantasy
He's so
team.
soft now. What happened?
The leap
still won,
the leap that
Yes,
Evan
by
Mobley
4 against the 6-31 Indiana Pacers.
The leap that Evan Mobley was supposed to do was the leap that Jalen Duren did. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm a little bit upset at Evan Mobley. He was supposed to be. I feel like, I don't know if we talked. I think we did talk about it. About if the Cavs are going to win the finals ever, Mobley was the key.
Yeah. I don't think we said it on this pod, but we definitely said it on air somewhere.
I've talked about that with you. I mean, I've talked about that with all of my different groups of friends that like basketball, so you guys included in that. But it was never Donovan and it was never Darius. It was always, is Mobley what Mobley should be, or is Mobley what Mobley is?
No, he's not what he should be.
And he's not what he should be.
I think he might be what he is. But
right. I think that's the problem.
The Cavs
might be what he is, but this is not the Evan Mobley we were supposed to get.
The Cavs lately, though, have had good contributions from everybody. The problem, though, is they're 21-17, and if you look at the Eastern Conference, that's not good enough. So that's the problem with the Cavs right now.
But I think comparing it to earlier in the season, they're coming up because this has been a better stint, and this is something close to what we are going to see when they make the playoffs. But they still need to ramp it up a bit. But once again, Jaylen Brown, this past week he put up like 50 and 30 in 2 different games. But in the second most recent game, I think he put up 30 against the against the Nuggets
He just
last
put up
night.
33
Yeah,
last night, or
but
the night as we're recording this.
but the game before he put up only 13, but they still won because it was the Bulls. Um, and yeah, the Celtics keep winning, and I think it's starting to come to a point where I'm getting nervous.
Is Joe
I'm
Mazzulla
not.
just really good?
Well, you should
Huh?
look at their schedule lately, and then you'll see how I'm not nervous about the Celtics.
Andrew, I also
They
know you
beat the
don't care
Raptors.
until
They
it's
beat the
from
Pacers twice. They beat the Trailblazers. No, the Trailblazers beat them. Pardon me. They beat
I
the
was gonna say,
Trailblazers aren't that bad. I like the
Trailblazers
beat the
are good.
Clippers and the Kings. Yes, the Trailblazers are good. I'll give the Trailblazers that. But I'm just saying, looking at their schedule recently, I don't trust the Raptors. Obviously the Pacers stink. Trailblazers are good, and they beat them anyway. They beat the Jazz. They beat the Kings, and they beat the Clippers, and they beat the Bulls, and they lost to the Nuggets. Like that's somewhat of an easy stretch for them lately. I'm still not sold that the Celtics, without Tatum and Porzingis, are going to figure things out and get back to the finals.
Did a lot better than the Cavs did in their easy
They're doing
stretch.
better than the Cavs. I'm not arguing that they're doing better than the Cavs. That's not.
You can only play
I'm
who's
just
there.
not bought into the Celtics. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
That's
you're
all
not
I'm saying. I'm
biased.
not bought into the Celtics. I'm bought into Detroit. I'm bought into New York. I'm not bought into Boston.
That they're 23 and
The
14.
Chicago Bulls have had a better record against better teams than worse teams.
But
They
are you
also
taking the
like.
Bulls seriously? They're
think
playing
that
in contention again.
Here's
Please.
my thing about schedules. I think that looking at teams and who they've beat and who they've lost to is one of the more overrated things that we do as sports fans because you can only play who they put in front of you.
I
You
agree.
don't get to pick. So I don't care if the Celtics beat our JV high school teams. If that's who is on their schedule, then that's the only people that they can beat. So does that give me confidence that they can be good teams? Maybe not, but it does give me confidence that they'll win the games that are presented in front of them. And that is
Yeah.
more than we can say for some teams. The
I agree. Schedule
Thunder
is
just
schedule.
lost to the
Still.
freaking Hornets.
It's the NBA regular season too, and as I've emphasized
I-
before, the playoffs are when we'll really see.
We got to make a bingo card.
Yeah.
NBA regular season is on that bingo card. Cross it off if you had it, people.
But I'm going to move on real quick. Rapid fire. Denny Avdia for the All-Star
Dog,
game.
our guy.
In the past 5 games, he went 27-11-9, 17-7-7 against the Thunder, by the way. And then against the Pelicans, he put up 34, 11 assists, and 7 rebounds. Against the Spurs, he put up 29, 10 assists, and 10 rebounds. And then against the Jazz, he put up 33, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds. He's been playing out of his mind.
What a dog. And I remember how bad I wanted him over Okoro.
I remember when the Washington Wizards had him. Imagine if they had him now.
That'd be awesome.
Something to think about.
But yeah, like those teams and those players, I'm very excited for. And I have a little bit of a thing down here of what are my top 3 teams for each conference. If the season ended today, for me personally, I'm only doing top 3. So if your team isn't on there, that doesn't mean that they're not going to win.
Nope, it means they stink. At Matthias Andahar on all social.
Have fun. But I have for the East, the Pistons, the Celtics, and the Knicks. And for the West, I have the Thunder, the Lakers, and the Rockets.
Rockets! Woo! My Rockets!
I'll give my 3 in both right now. So for the East, I'm going to go Pistons, Knicks, and I'm going to take the Magic to come back and do it. And for the West, I am going to take the Thunder, Spurs, and Nuggets.
Jake, you got one since this is now a segment.
I have zero things to add in this conversation other than I really enjoy watching the Rockets play basketball, the one time of year that I watch them play basketball. And yesterday I watched Kansas close a 10-point deficit in 52 seconds. So that's all I got basketball-wise.
Fair.
One in overtime
We're going to
after
get
being
to the
down by.
nitty-gritty of the NBA here soon, which is what's going to be fun once January continues to roll. And we know as of lately, the Cavs have been pretty good in the month of January. So hopefully they start to figure things out here in town. That would be great for us. But still, I can't put the Cavs on any kind of contention list until I see the Cavs substantially play better and get back to the playoffs at the very least, at least within the top 6 seeds.
I do want to
Yeah.
make a promise to the both of you and to our viewers that when the playoffs start, I will watch. I always watch the playoff games. I love playoff basketball. So
Oh, we're doing one sentence, one pick for basketball too.
I just want to put it out there. I know I don't contribute anything to this other than looking at the Wizards roster for 7 minutes.
And that's
There's
the
a
other
whole
thing.
portion of this segment of me going like this because I was reading through the Wizards.
As
So
we're getting
I don't
close to the
contribute.
podcast close, I think we should also bring this up. We are going to redo the dinner bet for basketball once that comes around in the playoffs this upcoming year. Yes, we are.
I guess so.
Surprise.
I better get studying, bro.
We're going to
'Cause
do
I'm
a
gonna get
whole
last.
NBA playoff bracket for the one sentence, one pick.
You guys
The
thought I was
NFL
playing for
regular
second.
season, we're doing it for the NBA playoffs.
You thought I was playing for second in the NFL one. Just wait till you see me play for second in the NBA. Because if I beat either one of you, that's embarrassing for the both of you.
But we still got to have the dinner that we owe for
Because
NFL season still.
the goal for me is to just survive.
Well, hey, Jake, you were the winner.
Yeah, but for the NBA, bro.
You're the champion. Get the crown out real quick. It's
don't
time
know
to
where it
brag.
went.
It's
There it
time
is.
to brag.
Also, I'm going to say it now to our viewers as well. Next week, we're going to start. I'm going to at least start talking about the WNBA because it's back, and I need a reason to pay attention to it.
I love the W.
Well, we're going to have to get going on the WNBA here as well when that gets started too. So
Shout out to
we got a lot
my good
coming
friend,
up.
my good friend Courtney, who got me this at Burger King. Not a sponsor, but her girlfriend works at Burger King. She got me this crown because she said, "quote I know you like Ohio State." So
Go
thanks,
Bucks.
Courtney.
Sorry they lost. That's the big thing. January, there's no more NFL regular season to discuss. We got the playoffs coming up. We have the NBA to get into. A lot coming up for next week's show. We're going to get into more nitty-gritty of the NBA as well as we get going here in the month of January. And also college basketball, Jake's specialty. March Madness isn't too far away. And I know Jake's going to be really, really excited for bracket season. So
You should watch college basketball in every month. Yes,
you
We
should
can
also watch
watch
every
NBA.
edition of Raw Takes and Company every single week right here on YouTube. We
Last
really
night was
appreciate
one
that.
of the best college basketball nights I've seen in a long time. So many great games, people.
As Matthias says, watch the NBA, right?
Yes, please.
Jake says watch college basketball. That's going to be it for today's edition of Raw Takes and Company. Gentlemen, this has been a fun one. Enjoy the NFL playoffs. Enjoy the NBA. Enjoy college basketball. Enjoy college football while we have a couple games left here. January, we're getting rolling as Raw Takes and Company goes for the little bit of a new direction as the NFL regular season has come to a close. Congratulations to King Jake over there on winning one sentence, one pick. We will be setting up the dinner schedule here in a little bit as well of where we'll be going, when we'll be meeting, some new things we could talk about for the podcast as well. It's going to be a fun 2026, guys. I can't wait. I really
Thank
can't.
you to all my fans.
Yes, thank you to all of the fans who watch Raw Takes.
All of my fans who
all of
supported
Jake's
me this
fans in
season.
particular.
I put it on my Instagram story. I got like 30 likes on that story. All of you, thank you. I love you, my fans.
We love you,
We'll be
Jake.
back for the NBA. I'm going to stop these two losers from winning again.
Technically 29 because
You liked it twice.
The Raw Takes and Company Instagram liked it and I liked it. So 29 likes technically.
They all count the same.
We'll be back next week with more Raw Takes and Company. Have a good one, everybody. Enjoy sports. We'll be back with you next week here on Raw Takes and Company, and make sure to check out the show next week. Have a good one.